because Kyle gets rattled when Jimmy used to do this to him all the time when he was off. And today Purdy had his Jimmy moment, but his Jimmy shitty game is better than Jimmy's crappy game.
That's right.
But that's the worst game he's played as a pro. I don't care what the numbers aren't that bad. The eye test, I thought he was abysmal.
Yeah, let's grade.
A lot of the plays were. And Sanchez did a good job saying this. And this is Kyle's offense, and I think a lot of college offenses are like this. You know, you used to talk to Leach and stuff, right? A lot of throws, but a decent percentage of the throws are essentially runs. We're getting the ball to the guy behind the line of scrimmage. Some of those design, like you just flip it, which, again, the 49ers have had quarterbacks that can't even make that throw over the last decade. But that those coaches consider that like it goes in the box score as a pass. But come on, guys, this is in the pros. That's essentially a run. And goddamn, was Kyle addicted to getting to the edge today? It's like, geez, you can get someone injured. Just run up the gut.
Let's keep it going on Brock. Grade Brock today. Because I'm with you. Like if you said he was off, let's check the stats, and he's 17 of 25, which is 68%, 206, no interceptions, no touchdowns. By the way, he had a 2 touchdown per game streak going. I bet the above on my prize. I picked the above on my prize picks on Brock. 2 touchdowns or 1.5 touchdowns today. Did not hit. No. But if that's your bad game, if you don't turn it over, and it feels like when the Niners play Stafford, it's these games. We've seen this Niners-Rams game a lot where it's neck and neck, Stafford turnover, right? And this was, Purdy's bad today relative to what he's been is not as bad as Garoppolo's bad. Garoppolo's bad is a lot more frenetic. But I also agree with you. 17 to 25 was he had the 3 big misses, high on Jennings in the middle. That was a tough throw. The Debo miss was a touchdown. And the Ayuk on one arm, Ayuk came back on the field to go catch a go ball. And they missed him on that one too. So he had 2 kind of wide ass open touchdown misses. Wide ass open might be too strong, but he had 2 touchdown misses.
Ayuk might not have scored because there was a safety. He might have been shoved out of bounds, like eventually, or cut back. But that should have been a layup. I'd say 35, 40-yard gainer. And Kyle was pretty mad at that one.
Kyle was mad at
the Debo one too.
Additionally, he had several off-target throws the guys made great catches on. Right, Debo made a couple really good catches on throws that were off target. The first throw of the game was off target. Was it Kittle on the first throw? Went back and made the play.
We call that the Jimmy.
We call that the Jimmy. Yeah. He doesn't miss high, right? Jimmy misses high. Brock misses behind. Jimmy would do that too, though. Jimmy would miss in all directions. He would spray. It was the second play of the game on 2nd and 3. So he had a lot of catches, like guys bailed him out on off-target throws today.
Let's face it. I would say the majority of the people calling games can never give you a true breakdown of like some fundamental quarterback thing, because most guys, if you turn on TV, a lot of guys aren't quarterbacks, right? So if you're Mark Schlereth or whoever calling a game, a former DB, you're not breaking down the footwork.
Right.
I've never heard, or I don't remember hearing in recent memory, Mark Sanchez, when he first went into this, I'm like, what's he about to say? And he pointed it out pretty perfectly. He's like, you have to point. It's almost like a golfer. I bet they hammer that shit down. Fundamentals. And if Purdy's going to be good and ever reach his ceiling as a player, he's going to have to dominate on fundamentals as a pocket thrower, because he does not have the elite arm. He's not Josh Allen, right? He's kind of the antithesis of that. And Sanchez pointed out, like, his fucking foot was pointing the wrong direction or closer to where the ball ended up going. And it's like in golf, when you're open stance, sometimes your ball, your swing path is going to go that way. And Debo had him beat, at least even if he gets tackled right there, it's a first down. And it felt like today he was just, obviously he was off, but just got loosey-goosey. The synergy between him and Kyle today was weird. That was his shittiest game by far as a pro. And their team's so talented, they could win, but...
What do you mean the synergy? You mean in the play calling or like in their interactions?
Yeah, just I think Kyle wanted to like ring it. Like, what's going on here?
How about when they couldn't get the play in the 2-minute offense at the end of the half too?
Yeah, they haven't been in that many situations like that.
That's true.
I have a hard time when people want to be critical in those situations, like Mahomes and Andy, or people that have been doing it for longer, like their standards, they've been through it forever, like Brady forever with Bill and Josh. How many times have Brock and Kyle been in that situation? No timeouts, 2 minute, trying to. Got lucky. It was the end.
Well,
of
we
the
know
half.
they don't play from. They haven't had to play from behind much. Not that that's what that was, but
Well, and the reality too is now you're not getting the ball, so there was some pressure on that drive, but it's a lot different when at the end of the day you still got another half of football.
yeah.
Even if somehow he screws up and they don't even get a field goal or something weird happens, right? It ended up working.
Well, it almost.
wouldn't
I
say
mean, they went
perfectly.
for it on 4th down, so they could have come away with no points, right?
Yeah,
So what's your Purdy grade today?
I'd say a C minus. I won't give him a D plus because he still, I mean, functioned enough. Like he passed, right? You couldn't have won the game if he's throwing picks. He could have lost them the game.
Yeah.
To me, if I'm gonna give him in the D or F, he obviously didn't get an F, but he didn't turn the ball over. He didn't even throw that many that I remember turnover worthy plays. If you're gonna miss on the Ayuk or even the Debo thing, sometimes when you lollipop it, like Derek's a good example, is like I would say the latter part of his career, and we'll see how he looks with the Saints. But his last couple of years with the Raiders, he was always so afraid with missing that pass. And he's got a better arm than Purdy. He would like lollipop it up there. And sometimes when you do that, like a safety can undercut it and pick. You see it happens a lot in college. And if you're gonna miss, which it sucks missing, at least miss just to fucking open grass.
Yeah.
Right.
I got to go C plus at least. I can't give him a B. I'm with you on that, but I still thought all things considered, he never panicked. He managed the game really well. Like the fact that he missed throws didn't seem to affect him taking care of what the offense was supposed to do. It still ran like a pretty well-oiled machine offensively, despite the fact they missed big plays with him. He didn't hit big plays, but I thought he did everything else pretty well, like really well, managing the offense in a game that had pressure, right? In a game where the possessions really mattered. I didn't think he played afraid or anything like that. He protected the ball.
I'm not worried about him being scared.
I'm just saying. I'm just explaining to you why I'm giving him a C plus because why I'm giving him the plus, just because I think he was still almost 70% completion. We talked about some of the throws that he got bailed out on, but he had to make a few big 3rd down throws. There was at times like big pressure, and he stepped up and made some throws against big pressure. So, yeah, I thought it was a bad good game or a good bad game, whichever way you want to look at it for Brock. And it was a winning game. Like he did more than they ultimately won by 2 scores, right? Until Sean McVay decided to cover. Maybe his owner. What if you knew
I think
owner had bet?
You've just convinced me. No, we didn't lose by 2 scores. The game doesn't end with 4 seconds left, right? He's right. I mean, it's 60-minute game.
So what did I convince you?
That they won by 1 score.
Yeah. You're saying Sean did it for the 1-score loss, not to cover.
Yeah, I don't think he probably did it for the cover.
He knew what the line was. I'm starting to talk myself into it. They always know.
Yeah.
They act like they don't know. We don't listen to the outside noise. Wood Darnold, here's a good unscrambled mandible gave us $10 so we could dive into Wood Sam Darnold, who had the best deep ball percentage in the NFL last year, John, have hit those deep balls to Debo and to
might have looked really accurate in the preseason with those. It might be some of the underneath stuff that that's where
and standing in against pressure. Right.
Purdy's margin for error, where Kyle's going to ding him. Listen, you're going to miss some deep balls even if you're having a good game, right? Tom Brady's missed that throw. Not 3 of them in the same game, but 1 of the 3. You do have to hit this. Like they are. I was going to say paying Purdy. They're actually not paying him that much given his draft slot. But for them to reach their ceiling and them to do what they want to do, get the number 1 seed, he's got to consistently hit the slants.
Yeah.
Right?
And did you feel like he did? Are you saying he did or that he didn't?
Well, he didn't the Debo one was way off. That was very Jimmy-like. That was shitty quarterback play-like. That's the play that he hasn't really made. Most times that throw is never that far off. That's the farthest off. And then the way Sanchez explained it, like, is he getting loosey-goosey with his fundamentals? They got to hammer him home. Well, they got a game in 60 hours, so I don't even know if they got time. But that's going to be something that I would imagine, Kyle, that they'll get into maybe after this next game.
Yeah.
Get back to the fundamentals.
As someone who went to a lot of training camp practices, I can tell you they threw a lot of deep balls to Debo in practice. Everybody did. They were usually too long. So
yeah, he's faster with the ball in his hands than he is running, but he's still open. So once
no, I
open,
understand. I'm just telling you that was a continuation of what has happened for the last several months. Is trying to hit Debo on deep balls. It usually gets thrown too far. No, he overthrew Ayuk and he overthrew the Jennings was a tough window throw. I'm just saying that has happened.
I wouldn't even. I would remove that throw from the Ayuk and Debo deep throws that were
the Jennings
there. Yeah, the Jennings.
Yeah, okay.
That was a hard throw. That honestly could have got him killed if it was a good throw. I do. One thing with the 49ers, and this is, you always got to put everything into context with box scores. You always had to do this in scouting. Like, you couldn't just say, this guy's 70%. Well, if in the offense has X number of plays that are basically, you're going to complete 99.9% of the time, and they do a lot of that stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
They naturally run probably as many quick wide receiver screens. Every team probably has that play, and most teams probably run it a play or two, a week. The Niners will run it, it feels like 6-7 times a game. They'll run it both sides. If it works, they'll go back to it. I mean, they'll have games when they definitely hit versions of that play 5 times in a game.
Mm-hmm.
They'll do it multiple times in a drive if they flip sides, right? Might be different wide receivers. They might window dressing it a little bit. Stafford, they were just running pass plays, right? The Niners do run a lot of throws where he's going to get credit for. And this is where I feel actually pretty good about my C-. His numbers probably look a little bit better just because he had some built-in ones that if you're just a functional player, I'd say 90% of the NFL starters are going to hit the passes that they're giving them, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
They had a lot of
passing
plays
games
today,
were very different
behind the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They did not have a lot of the intermediate passing game, it felt like. They had a lot of the short stuff around the line of scrimmage, and then they pushed the ball down the field, and they missed some of those. I mean, his yards per attempt today were actually it's not bad at 8. Stafford's way smaller.
But again, he was probably, I think he was 12 yards per reception. So, a lot of catch and run on big plays.
Yeah. Well,
so you're right about that.
And a huge part of it, like one of the plays, Kittle got probably 12 yards. The classic play action boot dump off. I mean, in this Niners offense, if you're going to play for Kyle, what would you say that has to be completed if there's no one in your face? 100% of the time?
100%, yeah. 99. I mean, Jimmy would miss it sometimes, but
I would say Brock is close to 100%.
It was a big strike against Trey.
If no one's right in front of his face.
Yeah. I love the kind of deep motion or orbit motion, whatever you call it, McCaffrey play, looping around, and then you've got to it's a tough throw when you see it from a particular angle, right? As he loops around, he kind of catches it in stride as he's running upfield. And they ran that.
Well. Listen, this is Kyle's baby, so I include him on this. I would just say they scored 30 points, but it was off, right? The ball hit on the one McCaffrey. It got deflected off. Was it
Kittle's thigh?
Yeah. So, I mean, the timing on that was off. There was another play where a guy was off sides. He jumped a little bit early on, I think it was McCaffrey. So there's a tick off, which is, if you're going to be a tick off, and this speaks to how good they are. They were off. I thought they were off offensively and defensively, and they essentially won by 10. But McVay had to cover.
McVay had to cover.
On the road in a division opponent with a Super Bowl winning coach and a $45 million quarterback who's playing really well this season.
Half on the road, like semi-road.
Not on the road, yeah. It's
home.
Are the Niners actually what Raider fans have always told us that they own LA when it turns out the Niners actually own LA?
Yeah, I mean, they said, or somebody texted me, it's like 60-40 Niners. And then when Oliver had the interception and they showed like the behind the play view, the end zone view, and you could see basically like 3/4 of the stadium. It was all red. That was pretty I knew there were a lot of Niner fans, and then when they showed that shot on TV, it was pretty eye-opening, I thought. It was pretty crazy.
Southern California is a big place. A lot of people live in the general LA County. I don't know how many millions, but a lot of millions. I think a lot of them, have a special place in their heart for the San Francisco 49ers.